What's going on? It's your boy Deuce Wayne.
What's good? What's good? What's good? It's Big Merv in the building.
Yeah, sir, and we are back for another edition of SceneDMs, but the timeout where we kind of address different topics that are relevant and stuff that we want to get to that's outside of the particular episode. We're back for another episode. Before we get into it, Merv, how you been, bro?
Been all right, man. I'm just living life in Portugal, brother. But how you been?
I can't complain. Living life as well. Unfortunately, Ontario, so caught a little bit of snow recently, and makes you realize how much I don't want to be here. I say it every year, but hate snow, and it's crazy because Canadians always act like snow is brand new.
Yeah,
We know it's coming, but it always surprises you.
Get over it.
After 30 years, get over it. But yo, let's not waste any time. Let's get into this. This is something that I've been thinking about recently. I haven't seen too many people talk about it, but I've been thinking about it, especially because it's such a big part, I feel like, of my life. I don't know about you. When it comes to adult cartoon series, if we had to fire off some of the good ones, what are the top tier ones, or what are the classics when it comes to the adult animated shows that are out there?
If we're gonna talk about the classics, you got like the South Parks, the Simpsons, the Family Guys as the classics. But man, there obviously is some that not flew under the radar because a lot of people love them. But there's ones like Boondocks, recently Rick and Morty, even more recently from the DC universe, Creature Commandos. Amazon Prime Invincible, which is obviously one of my favorites. There's honestly a bunch, and I think that the respect for adult animation, especially in the TV show universe, I feel like is good. I mean, I would consider it adult, but really not because they don't cuss. But like Justice League Unlimited, Young Justice, those are like pretty good adult animations if you want to consider those as well. So I give a lot of respect to it. I don't take people seriously when they're like, yeah, I don't really mess with animation because it doesn't show any emotion or it doesn't show any of that stuff. I'm just like, yeah, you don't watch, so you don't watch. Because you would know if you watch that there is a little bit of emotion, comedy, like action, and all types of stuff like that. What about you?
Well, I feel like the best animated cartoon shows for me have a lot of story with it. It's character driven, but like you said, I hate when people talk about the lack of emotion, because if you pay attention to the dialogue and see how intricate it is to pull off an episode for 30 minutes or 40 minutes and have it be intriguing, but have it adhere to adult themes, right? So again, it's a cartoon, but at the same time, like the topics and the thematics that are being evolved, it's like, man, this could really resonate with me on a different level. Bob's Burger, I think, is a good one. Futurama is a classic one.
Futurama, I forgot about that one. Yeah.
Right. I think it got renewed or is back on TV or something like that. King of the Hill are ones that I recall being on TV before going to bed as a kid. Robot Chicken. I know you talked about Young Justice. To me, Robot Chicken is one of those ones where it's like you don't even consider it. It's like a sleeper.
Episodes are only like 15 minutes. Like quick episodes, but they're hilarious.
Those are the ones where my mom walk in and be like, boy, what are you watching, bro?
Exactly.
I think more recently, for sure, I have to give a shout out to Big Mouth. I think that was a pretty good show on Netflix.
OD sexual.
OD teaches you.
It teaches you something, but you're missing one of your favorites. So
Archer?
Yeah, I was about to say
Archer, man.
I was about to say that's one of your favorites.
One of the top tier ones for me, one of my modern classics. I think that it, because it's so loosely based off of James Bond, it's like a parody, and we love the James Bond franchise. I mean, you put two of those things together, you have the plot armor of a guy who can never die, so he's never going to die. But he's an alcoholic and gets things right, dealing with his mother, dealing with the agency. I think it's just hilarious. BoJack Horseman was a good one too that was on for a little bit. All right, man. So if you had to do a Mount Rushmore, would you be able to do one?
I think so. I think me personally, I would have to put Family Guy at one. That's number one for me all time. You would be missing if you didn't say Boondocks. First like 3 seasons, maybe not the 4th season. Honestly, Invincible is up there still. I'm not gonna lie, Invincible is up there.
Yeah, you're a big fan of that one. That was a good show, though.
I'm a big fan of Invincible still. I'm always excited to watch that. So I think I would put that in there. I might have to go Rick and Morty for that 4th spot. So a lot of recent ones rather than old ones for me personally.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. For me, I have The Simpsons. I think that it's just goated. I think it was like prior to Family Guy for me. Before I got into Family Guy, I was always watching The Simpsons. And it was weird because when it comes to The Simpsons and the Family Guy, I feel like for you know so much Family Guy episodes like by heart. For me, I don't think outside of when I was a kid that I watch it in sequence. I find myself always catching different episodes randomly when it comes to The Simpsons. And then overall, it's like, okay, you get a good sense or feel of that season. Same with Family Guy. I never really watched them through, like, you know what I'm saying? Like 1, 2, 3, like back to back to back to back.
I really wanted to for Simpsons for sure. But yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, because that would be cool to kind of experience that. But nevertheless, I still think Family Guy would be in there for me. So I got Simpsons, Family Guy. There's 2 go-to shows that continue to withstand the test of time. They're always referring to things that are happening in the media, pop culture stuff. So I think it's always cool when these creators are able to
Right.
capture, stuff that's happening in the community or happening in the world, so that it keeps it relevant despite the show being, released how many years, decades prior. After that, I'll have to go Archer for sure. Like I said, love Archer. Lastly, I'll have to go Rick and Morty, man. I think it was one of those shows that really makes you think. It
Telling you,
really
man.
makes you think, man. The graphics are good. It's one of those shows that's like a mind F. Like it reminds me of when I watched Donnie Darko with Jake Gyllenhaal back in the day, where it's like after
Bro.
you watch an episode of Rick and Morty, you're like, yo, what is life? Like, what is my existence? Like,
Nah, facts. Facts. I feel like with Rick and Morty, man, it's like somebody, I don't know, like they just had their like these weird dreams and just like put it
mhm.
all onto paper and put it on an episode. Cause I'm just like, yo, like, how do you even think about some of this stuff?
How?
You know
But
what
it
I mean?
makes
Like, how,
sense.
it does make sense. Like, some of it does make sense, like, for the most part. So I'm just like, I don't know how you came
Mhm.
up with this stuff, but clearly it's something that people enjoy. Like, even the fact that the man just burps and is an old grandpa with his grandson. And I'm just like, yo, it's just a weird concept, but it works, bro.
Yeah.
People love it. So, like, you can't even be
Yeah.
upset at it. Yeah.
Moving on, what do you think? Because again, getting back into the TV shows, for me, I think TV has been really good right now, especially
Yeah.
you have a wide variety of streaming websites that allow you to, cater to whatever preference you like. We used to complain about, man, there's so much TV out there, it's hard to get to it, or there's so many movies out there, it's hard to get to it. I think it's a blessing and a curse, because a blessing in a sense where, we don't all have to like the same things, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a niche or there's type of content that fits your style when it comes to what you're looking for when it comes to TV. I think the same thing could be said about movies. So that's what I like about the many different streaming options. Although I do admit that, I like back in the day where it was more centered and more concrete in terms of like, all right, these are the 5 films you got to watch this month. Or
Mm-hmm.
these are the couple shows that are on TV right now. We're all being a community and enjoying it together. But it's cool that you could kind of go into your own pocket and watch what you want to watch. So, there's Apple, there's our Primes, there's Netflix, there's Disney Plus / Hulu,
Mm-hmm.
and there's Max, HBO, and then there's also Apple TV. Those are the big ones. Who do you think right now, overall or in general, is kind of the go-to? If wifey came to you or moms came to you and was like, man, we can only afford these two streaming services, would you, go for because of the shows or the movies that are original from that streaming service?
Honestly, Netflix would have to be up there just because, I mean, they have the classics like we talked about. They have Starting Five, obviously, that's been doing great. It came out
Mhm.
with Quarterback, that's also was good. Wide Receiver, the athletic shows, but then they have shows like Love is Blind
For sure.
and all those different type of shows that are like, okay, that fits to everybody's needs on that. And then they have shows that we love, you know what I mean? Like a Stranger Things
Right.
and Squid Games. So I'm just like,
Squid Games, yeah.
it's kind of interesting. Original shows, like they're really good. I think they're really good at it. I think movies is just depending on where you are. So that's
Yeah.
what makes it kind of difficult. When it comes to movies, I guess for nostalgic reasons, I really do like Disney Plus,
Yeah.
because it has all the old Disney movies and now with like Hulu and all stuff like that. So it does have a lot of 30 for 30s and all that stuff on there that we obviously enjoy as well. So I think
Having it be linked to Hulu is a cheat code, bro, because
I
there's
know
some
it is.
elite shows on there. Because I know I like
Exactly.
Shogun, Alien Earth, Lowdown, Chad
Mhm.
Powers, all that kind of stuff. WandaVision, Only Murders in the Vision,
Yeah.
in the building. The Bear is also like a Hulu original.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's on
The show you
Disney
like,
Plus as well.
Murdoch,
Yeah,
so
that's exactly as well. So I have the box, so I don't really watch anything on streaming no more.
yeah,
But
no, no, no.
I also have to give my respects to Prime. Prime does a good
Mm,
job because that's where Invincible came out
Invincible,
on.
yep. The
The
Boys, yeah.
Boys also came out on there. Those are the two shows, at least on there, that I've seen. I don't know if you've watched any on there. As we
Jack
know,
Ryan,
yeah, okay.
Goliath, them stuff like that. I really do like Max. I think if I was, growing up in the 80s or 90s, I would be that guy that had HBO back in the day for sure. Because, loved Sopranos. Sopranos
Mhm.
obviously is one of the best shows in my that I've seen that
Winning
I laid
Time is
eyes
on
on.
there now as well.
What? One in Time, Euphoria, bringing
Mhm.
that season back, hopefully. You got The Wire, Succession, Abbott Elementary, White Lotus, Task, Game of Thrones. Come on, bro.
Game
True
of Thrones is a
Detective.
cheat code still. Game of Thrones is a
Yeah.
cheat code
The
still.
Pit, Peacemaker, Hacks, The Sex Lives of College Girls. The new show, Welcome to Dairytown, has been
Yeah.
doing well. It's on there. The
But
Chair
that's also
Company,
on
which
Hulu though. That was also
player.
on Hulu. That's on Disney. So like,
Oh yeah.
there's a couple that kind of sneak onto both platforms. I'm not gonna lie,
Hmm.
like TV shows. I forget what name you just said, but one of them I was like, oh shoot, I seen it on Disney Plus as well. Abbott
Yeah.
Elementary. Abbott
Elementary, yeah.
Elementary is on Disney Plus as well. So
Apple too is a big one for me as well. I think
mhm.
obviously with Severance, Ted Lasso, Studio, Slow Horses, the
Funny
new
and
show
Friends.
Plebeius. that's crazy, hijack, presumed innocence, and obviously your friends and neighbors, which we both enjoy as well. So kind of has that easygoing TV, but also has the access to some of the movies. Apple TV movies could be a little better. They
Yeah,
did have F1 though, so
they
that's a
did.
win for them. But movies like Ghosted back in the day and stuff didn't do as well.
Yeah, and
Netflix had
Napoleon.
Happy Gilmore too. Yeah, Napoleon, Happy Gilmore too
Yeah.
for Netflix and different stuff. So I think it's tough, but I think each service offers at least a bit of what you need. I would have to agree with you and say probably I would go with Netflix for my top one. And then if I had to do a secondary choice, it would be either Apple TV or for me personally, Max, just because of the kind of shows that I like.
I'll put Max up there as well, man. I think Max, when we were in America, that was like one of my favorite ones I used to go to because it literally has everything. Like, it really
Everything.
does. So I really rocked it Max heavy. Original shows, but then you have reruns where it's like, okay, you have Sopranos, which is obviously the original show, but it's a
Original,
rerun
yeah.
of an old show and stuff like that. It's like, you know, it's hard to not want to get the service and Game of Thrones and stuff like that. You got to get it still. So.
I think there's no loss though, for sure. Whatever one you get, there's definitely great TV out there. That brings us into the transition to talking about your friends and neighbors, man, because I recommended the show, but I mean, I knew you already knew about it before. You finally got a chance to watch it. What were your thoughts, first reactions to that TV show? And do you think that it did enough to warrant a season 2? Because I haven't heard anything about a renewal yet. Even if it was just a one season type of show, I still think it did its job and it deserves its rewards and its flowers.
Your neighbors and friends, or our neighbors and friends, whatever the heck the start is, your or our, I don't know, because
Yeah.
it seems like our would be best, but I guess yours works better. I really enjoyed the show, man. Apple TV, for some reason, on their shows, man, they do a great job of setting everything up. I think their budgets are like just really, really high.
Yeah.
So like the things that they can do and the creativity they can have and the manipulation of the cameras and even just like the display, just being in New York and you know what I mean, and being in the Hamptons, it's just like the display is just crazy. And then obviously the watches, the jewelry, the houses, the cars, all that stuff. I'm like, yo, okay. I'm like, Apple, you're stunting a little bit too much now with that.
But stunning in a good way, because when they displayed even the process of how you fence or pawn or, try to move the watches,
Yeah.
I learned something.
No,
I'm
I
not really
did.
a watch guy, but I was like, man, you got to make sure you have the box and you got to have it in the original thing. And I'm like, yo,
And
I
when
didn't
they
think it was
showed
that
like
legit.
every time they got a watch or a painting or something, they showed the history of it and like, like how it was made or whatever. And I was like, yo, fam, like this is elite stuff right here. So I'm not gonna lie, this is elite. And I think that's what I enjoyed about it. From that standpoint, is I think I enjoyed the backstory of it, like everything that came with it, because I was just like, okay, this is a cool story, but like the integral parts that they kept adding in, I thought was cool. And just to see his life pan out, and then obviously for us, well, for me, I can talk personally, but I know also for you, is that I never lived a lifestyle like that ever in my life where, like, you know what I mean? We had mansions and cars and all types of stuff like that, where I was just like living in that kind of neighborhood. So seeing that, I was like, yo, it made it super interesting. See from that point of view, to see how they lived. And I'm like, yo, do rich people really move like this? Like, I'm like, yo, fam, because this is insane. Like, I'm like talking, I'm like, the man's like, yeah, I'm in the hole for like 600K. And I'm like, fam, what
Not even
are we
stressed,
talking
bro.
about? Like, what are we talking about right now? And he's just like, yeah, bro, da da da. I'm like, yo, fam. The thing I did love about the show is the NBA player person that they added in, like kind of historical person they added in. I was like, yo, honestly, I really do enjoy this. Like, I actually think that this shows like some extra part of it, because like athletes do live in these areas, places with different people. You gotta also show how they live and how the money that they have and all that stuff. And I thought that was pretty cool.
Very cool. John Hamm is no stranger to TV. We know him as the Draper to Don, but also, him returning to the show as Andrew Cooper, I think was cool because he was charming, he was messy, he was vulnerable. Every choice that he made, I don't know, it just seemed like it was logical, but at the same time, it just added to the story. And it was more than a crime story to me. Kind of a show that dug into the class of things, the status, the entitlement, like you said, the behavior of the rich people in the neighborhood and how pretentious they were, to the point where these guys don't lock doors. Why they lock doors? They're a gated community. Like, they all trust each other. You know what I'm saying?
Like, what? Like, fam, I lock my door every day. Please.
Like, what are you dealing with? I don't care where I'm living. I still got to lock my door, fam.
Exactly.
And just the fact of how every person was living a certain lifestyle, but there was a certain type of fragility to their success. They were fragile people at the end of the day. Even when you talk about Olivia Munn's character, like, you think they have it all together, but really everyone has their own motivations of like what they're trying to get. What is their end game here? And then you have someone like, John Hamm's wife in the show who is also reassessing her life. And she cheetah.
She cheesed me in the car. She cheesed me in the
Yeah, she was bucket.
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool the way they addressed like even having kids and how disconnected it is now. As a parent, again, I don't have kids, so it's hard for me to say, but just having little sisters, seeing how people are just so caught up in their phones and their iPads and their own
Mm-hmm.
passions, and how difficult it is sometimes for parents to connect with their kids now because of all the technology and because of all the things that their parents are doing when it comes to their work and their career and their jobs, and they have to be 100% to that. And then sometimes that disconnect is there with the family, because that's basically what happened, bro. John Hamm, worked so hard to achieve all these obtainable things that you're supposed to do in life, status,
Mm-hmm.
goal, house, money, and then it still wasn't enough for his family or enough for him, that he didn't feel fulfilled to the point where his wife, stepped out on the marriage and blah 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 because he wasn't present. But I just think that that show was a kind of like a dark comedy without ever feeling kind of mean spirited, which I liked a
Mm-hmm.
lot. And there was so much tension in every scene. It was one of those shows that, like, when an episode finished, I was like, damn, bro, like I hope there's another one right away, because
Nah, facts.
it's
That's why I'm
tough to
glad I
kind of put
watched
the
it
show
late,
down.
because I got to watch everything back to back to back. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I also agree with that. I think that it didn't just touch on, like you said, the crime, but it touched on romance. It touched on the difficult situations in divorced families and how the money situation happens after that, and trying to figure everything out. And when you do have all the money,
Facts.
what happens when you lose all the money? You know what I mean? Having a business manager and having all these
Mm-hmm.
friends and everything like that. And it's just like, fam, seeing all that is like, yo, you don't understand how much goes into it. Obviously, we're, like you said, we don't have any kids or anything like that, but you kind of see that. You kind of see like what goes into that. Like, oh, she wants to go to the doctor for this, or he wants a new drum set, and it's like, fam, holy, like, fam, like, what else you guys need? But like, obviously we
Yeah.
knew that, but it was just like, just seeing it from the point of view of somebody that obviously has lost the money that he was used to having. So it was interesting to see from that perspective, seeing what he would do to try to get all that money
Mm-hmm.
and get it all back. So I don't know, I thought it was
Facts.
dope.
That was a dope show too. Before we transition to something else, what are your thoughts of, we talk about the Martin Scorsese freeze frame? We've seen it in Wolf of Wall Street. We've seen it in so many other movies where it's like, yep, that was me. And the meme where it's like, yep, that was
Mm-hmm.
me. Let me tell you how I got here.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how this show started, in a sense, where John Hamm was in the pool and it was kind of like, yo, why is he at someone else's house? Blah blah. Then
Yeah,
the last episode, it kind of clears it up, or the second last episode, I forget which one. But the
yeah.
climax, it clears it up. Are you a fan of like the freeze frame of showing the middle of the climax of what happens at the end of the movie or the end of the show, and then working our way back from the beginning? Or do you think that's lazy, or do you think it's been overdone? Like, what is your thoughts of that? Like, when you see something like that, are you excited to be like, oh, I wonder how they got there, like that character? Or are you like, oh, here we go again?
I mean, when it works, it works. There's so many things that have been redone and overused for so long. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
kind of hard to say like, oh, they should stop doing it. How I feel about it is that, like, again, like I said, like if it works, it works. But it depends how you do it. The show, yeah, well, it works because, like, okay, like, how did he get here? Like, why would this man that tells this entire story be in this situation? So I can't like hate on it too much, because I'm a Christopher Nolan fan, and the man always shows the end of the movie at the beginning. So
Facts.
I can't really hate too much on that, because I'm like, if Christopher Nolan does it and I love it, then well, how can I really hate? But at the same time, it's like I understand where it can be played out. Like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when the freeze frame is like, oh yeah, I bet you're wondering how I got here. It's like, yeah, like I'm annoyed by that. But like in the way that Your Neighbors and Friends did it, it's a lot different. I felt like it was an interesting situation, because it wasn't just a freeze frame by itself. It
Mm-hmm.
was like Hughes did something, and then he fell, and it wasn't even a freeze frame. It was a slow mo. So it wasn't like
Right.
a pause of everything.
Pause.
It was
Yep.
just like a slow mo of him falling, and then him saying it was like a metaphor for what's going on in his life. And I was like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
like what went on in his life? Boom, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Me personally. So
Has you hooked. Yep.
yeah, exactly.
All right, man. Listen, let's talk about movies. We've been talking about TV shows, and again, we'll return to it soon. We've had a chance to watch a couple of movies. Before we even get into specific movies, you sent me something where it was like, this was the worst October since what, 1997 or 8? I
Mm-hmm.
forgot what the specific year was when it comes to the box office of movies. Again, I feel like we're always talking about it, but why not? What do you think is the reason for that? Why do you think we had such a horrible October? Because I thought some good movies came out. Obviously, I don't think it was the top of the top when it comes to this year when we talk about like Sinners and certain
Mm-hmm.
other movies, like big events. I don't think that was the case. But why do you feel like October wasn't a month that was working or resonating with a lot of people?
After such an amazing summer, I think people were kind of either, one, it's starting to get a little colder. People obviously stay indoors a little more. Me personally, there wasn't anything where I was like, I gotta get out of my house to see this. Obviously, I did, because we are moviegoers and we're interested.
Yeah.
But there was nothing where I was like, I gotta see it this weekend. Like I gotta see it like right as it comes out.
Mm,
This summer, I felt like there was mad movies where like, yo, fam, as soon as it's released, we're there. But other
mhm.
movies, I felt like, okay, I'll like watch it like a week later or something like that, or I
Yeah.
might just wait until it comes out on the box or on streaming or something like that. Like I don't
Hmm.
really care to watch it. And obviously, if we weren't the people we are, then we probably would have like, oh yeah, we'll just watch it whenever, but nah, we want to go to a movie and see it, and not a lot of people think like that. And I feel like there was a lot of IPs in the summer, so it was like a lot of things where you're gonna draw people in because it's things they already know. I mean, one battle after another, like everybody's like, okay, Leo, we're gonna go see it, but it's
Yeah,
like Emma Stone and Jesse Pinkman, like okay, like the critics say it's
yeah.
a good movie, but like, is it really worth that? Is Emma
Mm,
Stone really gonna get me out of my house? Respectfully, you know what I mean?
mm,
Is Marlon Wayans really gonna get me out of my house to go see him? You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Like it's like things like that where it's like, do these people really get me out of my house?
Right.
Now you know how it is, the highlight culture, where it's like we want highlights, so we want the best of the best, and that's what
Mm-hmm.
it is. Instead of just seeing a movie for what it is, it came down to that. That's what I would say personally.
There's a lot of movies that came out, Black Phone 2, we talk about like Bone Legs, certain stuff like that. But I agree. I don't think there was, Smashing Machine, which was supposed to be big, all those kind of movies. But I think for me, if I had to give my 2 cents, what I think happened, and I'm not an expert, is that I remember that the Michael Jackson movie, which we're going to be talking about a little bit later, but the
Yeah,
movie Michael was actually slated to come out this October. Prior to the delay, when it was announced that it was coming out in October, I feel like other movie studios were like, you know what? We're not dropping it this month. It was like a Drake
mm.
album. We're like, yo, they're not dropping the same weekend as MJ. That's not
that's
smart.
yeah, exactly.
That's not good business. So I feel like all the good movies moved right before October, and then other movies are like, yeah, we'll just wait till November. We'll just wait till December. Go for that slot. That's what I feel like happened. And obviously,
Mm.
Michael Jackson estate was like, we're going to delay it, and then by the time it's too late, Frankenstein to me is like, why would you not release that in October? To me, it's
Yeah,
like a
that's
Halloween
a
type of
Halloween movie.
movie.
Exactly.
Like, what are we dealing with? We dropped the ball on that, but
I,
in my head, I'm like, is it because of that? Or they're like, Gil de Toro, like, yes, he's that guy, but like, who could really stand up to MJ? At the end of the day,
yeah,
people talk about the trailer and how bad it is, but everybody's going to go watch MJ, fam. Like,
exactly.
it's going to make $1 billion.
Exactly. Yeah. I think that since you're on that subject, then there also is something else then that was actually supposed to release around this time that maybe studios were like, yeah, we're not releasing it at the same time. It's actually not a movie, it was a video game, and it was supposed to be GTA 6.
Mm-hmm.
GTA 6 was supposed to be coming out like this fall. I don't know if studios also were just like, yeah, nobody's leaving their house,
Right.
especially like kids, you know what I mean? Like they want kids or like teens, adults, young adults and stuff like that, like to go to the movies, and maybe like people are just gonna be addicted to the game. I don't know. Obviously, that could be a stretch. I don't know if studios think about video games, but GTA is not a video game.
Yeah.
It's like a lifestyle,
It's
fam. Like
yeah,
that's a whole different movement still. So
yeah.
I don't know if it was the same kind of feeling
That's a good point, though.
because yeah, I could. Once you said the thing about Mike, I was like, oh shoot, and did forget that GTA was supposed to come out that time. If I don't know, obviously we're a movie podcast, not video game podcast. I think that stuff is like stuff you got to look at as well because I didn't think about it from that angle until you just said that, and I was like, oh shoot, maybe.
Yeah, all that stuff kind of matters, man. I think studios, because they have such a mind of making money, they have to be conscious of every scenario on play. I
Mm.
think that's a good point, that you just made. Let's get into Bugonia, man. We have a couple movies we want to review that we've seen recently. Bugonia is one of them. You already mentioned Emma Stone. Where are you on Emma Stone? Just out of curiosity. I actually, like, I think I texted you in the text chain earlier. I had to
Mhm.
reevaluate my relationship with Emma Stone. Man, I respect her, man. She's been in the business for a while. Her versatility is actually and range is something that I'm starting to admire and pay more attention to, especially because I remember Easy A and those kind of movies. You know what I'm saying? Not to
Mhm.
say those aren't good movies, those are hilarious movies. But for her to go from, Easy A to working with Gargos like 3 times, Poor Things, Kinds of Kindness, now Begonia, her ability to just work in the business and be consistent is something that I also admire because I know that, it's not easy for actors to always get consistent work or take the
Mhm.
opportunity to want to even do these kind of movies instead of always doing blockbusters or these big kind of films. But she was also in Eddington with Pascal and Austin Butler in them. So she's active. Like, she's active. I like her. Like you said, I don't know if she's like has that movie star presence where it's like if you just put Emma Stone on a movie, everyone's gonna go out. But I do know if she's in a movie, she's gonna perform well and she's not gonna mail it in. She's someone to watch. Like, I'm actually curious to see the next, like, what her next 10 years are like and how it develops. But she's always being, nominated for awards and looked at as like a really good performer in her craft. So I just want to know like where you stood on her as like an actor in general.
I think she's a really good actress. Like I said, I don't think she is enough to get me out of my seat to go watch a movie. I
Mm-hmm.
do enjoy her acting. Um, from obviously a movie goer standpoint, movie critics, movie goers, and so people that love that kind of stuff. hate her acting, of course, but at the same time, like I said, I don't think it's enough for me to get out of my seat and be like, okay, let me go watch this movie just because she's leading it or something like that. Like that's kind of where I sit with that subject. No hate whatsoever. I'm just saying that I just don't
Yeah,
think that she has the. Honestly, don't think a lot of people do. Honestly, nowadays,
yeah,
other
it's
than the
tough,
older
man.
people, like I don't think we talked about this a lot. Like
Hmm.
that
Yeah,
star status. I know that from an acting standpoint, La La Land and all those movies, I think she's a great actor.
Crazy Stupid Love.
Yeah, of course.
And it's tough, man. In a world where like we talked about this all the time, but who's really a celebrity nowadays? You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
I was watching Chad Powers the other day, and Haktua character was in the show, and I'm just like, in what world would like someone go viral on TikTok for whatever they went viral for, and then now they're like a celebrity and they're being asked to be in a show? You know what I'm saying? Like it's crazy
Yeah,
how this world works.
yeah. The word doesn't make sense to me.
Like Haktua didn't grow up saying I want to be an actress, like I want to be on a show or like a
Yeah.
movie. It just this is how life is playing out right now. You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy to think that people go or get famous off of whatever dances or a saying or could be anything. You know what I'm saying? Damn, Daniel. Like I just saw it the other day. They said, what happened to that guy? And I was like, yeah, what happened to that guy? Like there's so many people. And I'm like, why do I care what happened to a guy that said, damn, Daniel? But I'm
It's
like, damn,
just,
he did start a whole movement.
it's just a fad, man. Like
It's
a
a
lot of these
weird
people
time,
are
bro.
fads, bro. And back in the day, they used to be a fad and be on Ellen, and
Mm-hmm.
then they'd be done. You know what
That's
I mean?
it.
And then
Yeah.
now it's like, oh well, they're gonna be famous forever. Like it
Mm-hmm.
seems like they're gonna be on TV shows, they're gonna be on commercials, they're gonna be making
Mm-hmm.
appearance in movies. You know what I mean? It's like different. They're gonna be leading actors and actresses in movies off of Instagram and stuff like that. It's just like crazy to think.
It's insane. And no hate. And this is another
No
example I wanted
hate,
to
of
bring
course.
up. But Drewski, I saw like Drewski went to Toronto, had a show, and people were complaining. And I'm just like, man, what did you expect? This bro is not like a real stand-up comedian. It wasn't like he was like working clubs like
Yeah, he was
day and
doing
night. You know
videos,
what I'm saying? He was
editing,
a
everything.
social media guy,
Yeah,
and then you guys bought tickets based off his social media content. And
exactly.
if it doesn't hit in real life, it's like that's where you understand there's a difference between people who actually come up in the business, go to different comedy clubs, work their craft, and then or guys who are just like naturally funny like him. So there's definitely different sides to it. But like you said, like back in 20 years ago, would Drewski be able to like lead a tour? Like I don't think so. But nowadays, an influencer could actually lead a tour, bro. It's
Yeah,
actually
because
insane when you think about it.
people just are
Headline a
always gonna
tour,
say
bro.
that's crazy, bro.
Stadiums.
I just
Like,
seen G Herbo talk about that. Like, yo, you
I'm
never seen
like,
something like this, and I'm like, yeah, I've never seen anything like this.
never. Like, bro has no album, no movie, no like he's just out here touring and doing gags. Like, and
Yeah,
then people are upset, like, oh, he's doing his IG stuff. Yeah, what do you think he does? Like I don't
exactly.
understand. Bugonia. Let me just talk about the premise real quick. It's directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, who's one of those like cult kind of indie art house type of directors. Definitely makes it weirder kind of movies that is not for everybody, but is challenging when it comes to pushing the boundaries for artistic stuff or creation or themes. And this is one of those movies where he actually got like a bigger budget. So he got to kind of play and go crazy because of the success of his previous films, like, like I said, Kinds of Kindness and all that kind of stuff, poor things. But it's essentially about two conspiracy obsessed young men, played by Jesse Plemons, and I forgot the other brother's name, but he did a well job as well, who kidnapped the high power CEO of a major company. And they're convinced that she's an alien intent on destroying the planet. Simply, that's it. And it just becomes like an abduction story. I mean, I liked it for a lot of reasons, but I'm curious to hear your first reactions. I know you had a little watching it in Portugal is different, the subtitles at the end. I wanted to know, we could debate a little bit because I kind of liked it a lot. What did you think about the movie overall, and what did you like about it, and would you not like about it?
It was like entertaining, I guess. I
Mhm.
don't know, man. I just think people just really go off the edge sometimes, man. It just seemed like a lot. It started off as an introduction story, then it did flashbacks of this man's mom being floating in the air with her IV still in her. And I'm like, fam, is she
Yeah,
actually like is she actually?
the black and white flashbacks. Yeah.
I didn't get what was going on with that. I was just super confused with what was going on in the movie. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was just like kind of what was the point. But yeah, I thought it was entertaining. I actually thought the third act was the
Mhm.
most entertaining part, of course.
Man, I loved it. Spoiler alert for everybody who hasn't seen the movie yet. We're not going to talk like too crazy about it,
Yeah.
but just a spoiler alert warning right now. If you haven't seen the movie, we're gonna divulge some things. So if you haven't seen it, you could just cut it right here and return to the pod. At what point, or because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know she was an alien until she started walking back to the closet, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Before the closet, I still was like, is she effing with him? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Nah, 100%. Okay, well, so the only thing that I questioned
mhm.
was how he exploded. Obviously, we're
Okay.
divulging a little bit too much because
Yeah.
I was like, wait, how would he explode? You know what I mean? What set it off? It wasn't remote based, was it? Like,
No, it
no,
wasn't.
that's what I'm saying. So I was like, okay, like maybe there was something in there that triggered it. And then I
Yes.
saw his head
Yes.
and I saw her in the
Yeah.
ambulance. I was like, okay, but I was like, okay. I just felt like when he exploded, that's when I was like, oh, she might be an alien.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, okay, yeah, she might be an alien. And then when she went away in the ambulance and then like jumped out and like when she
And then
found out
she
he was
got,
dead
yeah, that's
and
when
all
I
that stuff, I was
realized,
like,
like,
oh yeah,
oh,
she's for sure an
I was
alien.
like, no way, no
I
way.
mean, I kind of questioned it when I thought about certain scenes, and I thought again, like this nigga did pop your kneecap out of place and your knee, and then you were able
And
to
you
walk.
soldiered that.
Like, you know what I mean? No drugs, no nothing. Like,
There's
nah,
different
yeah,
moments that make you recalibrate like what happened. I think that's why I really liked Emma Stone's performance, because she had to carry that for the performance where it's like unpredictable. You know what I'm saying? I'm the CEO and I'm whatever, devoid of all this stuff. I'm not, entertaining these guys' games. And from the outside looking in, I was like, oh, this is a very poised person. Because in this situation, I wouldn't be as calm, being
mm.
kidnapped, all this kind of things like that, by two psychos. And
She just wasn't acting like a real hostage, I would say. Like she
hmm
was super,
hmm
like you said, poised. Yes, you can be this meditating, yoga, physical activity person, but at the
hmm
same time, when distress happens, like you're not just gonna be like calm, like unless
calm,
you've been
yeah.
kidnapped before. The man kidnapped you. You're in the basement, tied up with your haircut and all this stuff, and you're just like,
hmm
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen and blah blah blah. And I'm like, fam, I'll be like, yo, fam, like, what's going on? Like, where am I? How
Yeah.
do I get? And then she's like, and then he's just like, I believe you're an alien. She didn't say she was not an alien. That's what I was like,
Facts.
oh, okay. That's what I was
Facts.
questioning it because I was like, okay, you are acting kind of weird. Like you are acting like he's right.
hmm
You know what I mean? Trying to figure out like, oh, like maybe like I didn't know where it was going. You did say what happens at the end makes the movie make sense.
Like the themes I got from it was like the control versus humility thing. So for me, I was like, okay, Emma Stone's always in control, especially as the alien, especially when we find out what she really was there for. But the whole time she's always in control, and then like in her being in the basement, she was still in control in a sense. Like you find out that she was the one that was in control. The humans out there were in control, but really she was in control of the whole situation and waiting for the lunar countdown to happen. When it comes to the bomb, I personally think that it was a question of either the teleporter was about to go off or it was just like too hot in there, confined space. I did look it up after, like, that's why it was the irony of it all, of like she actually was an alien and she actually was about to to teleport him back to the
Yeah,
ship to show him Wagwan, but
yeah.
he actually died because he actually bought an insurance policy of the bomb just
hmm
in case she was an alien.
hmm
So like the whole situation was like irony in a sense. Like I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's hilarious. That's why the scene of her, like you said, in the hospital, just walking towards limping and then like walking straight and then going there and then actually using the calculator, I was like, oh, this girl was not BSing, fam. This was
Yeah, and
actually
then
great.
walk into the closet like, oh yeah, she's in. All right,
Mhm.
guess of the show. Dwayne, can you please explain to me what the subtitle said at the end of the movie? Like, try to preface it because
Yeah, yeah.
I tried to use my camera to translate as
So,
quickly as
so
possible. I took
do you want to
screenshots,
tell people what happened? Well,
screenshots.
so you're in Portugal. What happened? What
So I'm
happened?
in Portugal. There's obviously in Portugal. There's subtitles in Portuguese.
Mhm.
The movie's in English, but the subtitles are in Portuguese. That's why I've actually been learning a little bit of Portuguese.
Tough. Okay.
Because I love movies with subtitles. I love watching movies, TV shows with subtitles. Me personally,
hmm
that's also should be a hot take, but we'll talk about it another day. That the end of the movie came where
hmm
the alien language or the hell they were speaking came up, and I was just like, no translation. But
Yeah.
then I was like, there was a translation. It was just in Portuguese because I'm in Portugal. I was like, you know those ones where it's like certain movies, I don't know, depending on how you watch them, there's no subtitles. And there's supposed to be
Yeah.
subtitles for a certain part. I remember watching Man on Fire, I think it was, watching it on a certain type of streaming or not streaming. I should have watched it on streaming, but I was watching a bootleg, of course. When I watched it, there were the parts where they were speaking Spanish. There was no
hmm
subtitles,
Mm.
none.
Man, I
And
had
I
to
was
put
just,
context clues together.
and then I was like, all right, well, I can't because they're going on for a while. You know, sometimes in movies where they speak a different language and it's like a small
The small
snippet and
second,
then
like,
the split
I don't
second.
gotta care about that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, oh, okay, like maybe it was that, but then it was going on for a minute. Man on Fire, and I was like, okay, well, and then
This might be important to the plot.
exactly, I had to change the entire movie over, and then come to find out that there was bare scenes that I was missing that had subtitles. And I was like, okay, well, I was rewatching Man on Fire, so it wasn't like it
Yeah.
hurt because I already knew what was going on. But I was like, okay. And then it happened to me before with a different movie, so I was like, all right, this is, you know what I mean?
That just happened to me. Equalizer 3, bro. I rewatched that movie and because they're in Italy.
Yeah,
And if you don't have the subtitles on, they're just speaking pure Italian. And like like you said, like you're watching the movie just thinking like, all right, this guy's just saying I want to this man.
Yeah,
It's
he's
nothing
gonna shut
to,
up eventually. Yeah,
bro. This guy's going out for 5 minutes. You're finding out it's like what he's saying is essential to the plot. Like, yo, I need to have the subtitles on for
bro, I
sure.
need to rewind the entire movie, bro. That's what I'm saying. So what happened was I just tried to take my phone out and I have the Google Translate, and I just started taking pictures. I kept taking pictures, just trying to get translations of, and then all I saw was that I saw the last two lines, and I was like, "What the hell?" And then the movie kind of ended at that
And then
part,
okay,
whatever. And I was just like, "What the hell did they say?" And I was so cheesed. And I texted you right after. I was like, "Fam, this movie's so weird, and I didn't know what the subtitles at the end, so I don't know what the hell
yo, it would
the
have been
movie's about."
hilarious. You see no TikToks when they're like, yo, when you bring in Chipotle and the employee, the movie employee walks in and just walks by you. It would have been hilarious if they walked into, like, you know how they do the checks or
Yeah,
whatever, and they just see you just flashing
just
pictures. Like, yo,
flashing pictures, bro.
what is this guy doing,
Yeah, I was like,
bro?
what is this guy on? Like, what are you doing? I'm like, my fault,
Nah,
dog. Like,
awful. I'm just trying to get the translation. But the ending, it kind of just revealed essentially that the human race was a failed experiment. So the
what she was saying
aliens,
in the basement was correct. Of like, actually,
yeah.
wasn't capping. Exactly. Okay.
So the aliens actually did. That's why I kind of liked it, because like we're so used to, not even used to it, but there's so many alien stories out there. But for this angle, for it to be the aliens actually created us, I was like, okay, that's interesting. Obviously, as a man of faith, that's different. But if I'm
Yeah.
to give into the plot of the movie, I'm like, that's actually a cool concept of like, okay, they created the humans, and her, Michelle, being the Andromedon Empress, she was
Yeah.
talking to the rest of the aliens up there. Like I said, the thing that was weird for me was the costume design. I was like, man, they're wearing something
I was like,
from
what are they wearing, bro?
like
That's
a
what made it
yarn
even
thing.
weirder,
That,
bro.
yeah,
Like,
that's it was kind of
that's
different
even
for me.
cheating even more.
Maybe they didn't have the budget to make them like actual like alien skin or whatever. But I'm just saying, that's put on
Nah,
matching
bro. They just
onesies.
try because the thing that got me was that the man was correct about everything.
It kind of validated just the feeling that something fundamentally is wrong with the world. So I think what the whole point of the aliens and what Emma was trying to show, or her character was trying to show, like Teddy's core fears about being controlled by the powerful, the non-human forces were essentially correct, like you said.
Mhm.
But making the point that, people get lost in their social anxieties and their conspiracy theories, which happens in real life. People
Yeah.
might be right about something, but they believe in the theory so much that they lose themselves. And that's kind
Yeah.
of what happened to him in a sense. Like you said, he was right. At the end of the day, the man was right, spot on, like to the point where it was crazy. But it's like
The
you
ship,
lost your own
the ship, how the
identity.
ship even looks and stuff like that. I'm like,
Hmm.
holy.
Like he was on to them. The outside world, you think he's crazy. You think
And I
he's
was getting
like
cheesed at
tripping.
him. Yeah, I was getting
Right.
cheesed at him. Like, yo, these man's annoying me. But then I was like,
And
oh,
this is,
damn, my fault,
yeah.
gang.
And this is what happens in certain matters in real life. You know what happened with 9/11? Oh, shut up, bro. That's
Exactly.
me
Man's
spitting
just like,
facts.
all right, bro, shut up, bro. COVID. All right, bro, shut up, dog.
You're like, oh wait a second, this guy. But I think the decision at the end, she ended the experiment because essentially she got kidnapped, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a point of where she was like, humans are all pointless. Because that's what I got from the movie. Teddy's own violence and his general human capacity for aggression and self-destruction is presented in a way where it's evidence enough for her and the aliens to be like, this species is a failure and can't be saved. Because the whole point of it was they started the human nature, and then when the humans started turning on each other, like, whoa, wait, what's going on? And that's why at the end of the movie we see all the humans die, but
Mm-hmm.
the animals stay alive,
Stay alive. Yeah,
because
I was
it's supposed
confused
to be
about
like
that because
a,
I was like, oxygen or like what was it? Because I was like, the dogs will die too. The man's need
yeah,
oxygen
yeah.
too. You know what I mean?
So it was supposed to be like a hopeful ending in a sense where it's a new beginning for Earth without its destructive human inhabitants. It's just like delivering a powerful message about environmental awareness and stuff like that. I like the connection between the bees too, because in the beginning when they talked about the bees, we know Jesse's character was a beekeeper, and just how bees have to, like, they're talking about the order and how no matter like if this bee dies, life goes on for them. You know what I mean? I just feel
Yeah.
like it was in relation to how the world was. And in the basement, you heard the buzzing and stuff because that was a connection, or I feel like a representation of his social anxiety. So whenever you heard the buzzing and the different stuff in the basement is when Teddy was kind of like losing his mind a little bit. The ending was just basically explaining that, the humans were a failed experiment and Emma gave him a chance. And then the crazy connection of all of it is that there was another experiment which was done on his mother. So that's what I'm saying. That's how Teddy understood what was going on, because the other alien empress, they wanted to conduct another experiment on humanity to see if their aggressive gene could be removed. So that's
Yeah.
what they were doing with the mother.
The mom. Yeah.
Yeah, to prevent them from destroying the planet. But the drugs and the experiments they were doing ended up killing the mother. So that's why Teddy was upset. And it's just like another kind of social commentary about how, like, the medical business and how they give us stuff
Hmm.
that says it cures us, but at the end of the day, it's addicting, and
Yeah.
we don't know what really is doing. Is it for profit? Is it for
Hmm.
personal gain? Are they trying to make the world better with the health, or are they just trying to like damage people more? So I just liked how it kind of points to all that, but I do understand where you're coming from. But when I looked at it from that and I stepped back, I was like, man, it's crazy how they had this concept of aliens creating humans millions of years
Hmm.
ago, but then got disappointed because we're self-destructive. It kind of reminds me of the other stories when it's like with when it comes to like the gods or like mythical creatures, where it's like we give, Prometheus, we give you guys fire and then you guys do too much with it, or we
Exactly.
give you this, and you know what I'm saying. So it's just a different take on that. But I do understand why. Like I said, I left there saying that was kind of weird too. But I do kind of liked it. One of the things I liked too was a lot of close-ups, like a lot of Emma Stone in my face, like just big on screen and ball with the thing. I just like how they kind of staged that, because in a sense it made me feel like, okay, Emma was kind of the one in control, and then when it showed the two brothers, especially in the beginning, it showed them kind of like dog trotted and like where they were. I definitely agree with what you're saying. I just think the film exposes like the absurdity of like ideology. I think that's what it does. Like if you ever met a conspiracy theorist, it fits well with this movie, because like people do be having their own beliefs, but then their beliefs be going so far off the edge
That people are like,
that,
all right, bro.
yeah, you kind of lose your identity, and then people don't believe in you no more. And the whole time, man's are right. So it's like, what is the point of it all? Is it, do we still have to tell other people like what is going on, or is there other ways to like show people like, yo, like this is what's happening? Are you fighting for change, or are you fighting to be the hero? And that's what I felt with
Hmm.
Jesse. Like, was Jesse fighting to avenge his mother, or was he fighting to like expose the truth and be the guy and the hero? And that's why, like,
I think
I
that's
kind
what
of
he was
got that.
like. That's why, yeah, that's why I think that the toughest part of it was because that's what she was kind of saying too. Is like, fam, are you not an activist? Are you not? Is this not a
Hmm.
movement? Like, you know what I mean? And he's just like, no, I think activists, da da da. And anytime she would bring up his mom, is like, yeah, he would trigger. So I'm like, yo, fam, are you really trying to save the world? Or are you just trying to avenge your mom and blow up the people that, you know what I mean, killed your mom? So like, I felt like that was like definitely a part of the movie where they were trying to also prove like you can never get over your own wants and
Yeah.
needs
Well, what did
before
we
the
just see that
world.
in? We just saw that in one battle after another, right? That
Hmm.
blind activism. Like, what
Hmm.
happens with that blind activism, that blind capitalism, how it could fuel your ego? What
Yeah,
happens when you're fighting for a cause, but you forgot what the cause was? You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? I feel like that's a constant theme that could kind of be threaded between both those movies, which I thought was kind of cool. Let's get into Merv's hot take. It's been a minute. I gotta hear Merv's hot take. What is something that, what Peter Griffin says since you've been talking about Family
Grind your
Guy? What
gears.
grinds my gears?
Well, something that grinds my gears for sure is this new age of over explaining in movies and TV shows where they
Mm.
have to like over explain everything that's happening instead of it being implied. That also comes with what grinds my gears is people that ask me while we're watching the same movie, why are they doing this? Or what's going on with this? I'm like, nigga, I'm watching the same movie you are. I don't know. Like, just watch the movie and figure it out. And I think the over explaining is coming for people like that, that maybe not pay
Mm.
attention or maybe are very slow to it and don't have like the wherewithal or the energy to kind of wait to see what the outcome of everything would be. 'Cause it's really annoying as somebody that like, you know what I mean, just enjoys to watch a movie and see how it pans out.
Nah, I agree with you, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because I'm a fan of good writing. I even posted something the other day on SceneDM, I think yesterday, with the Collateral scene. Tom Cruise told him to buy, flowers
Mhm.
for his
Mhm.
mother. Jamie
Mhm.
Foxx goes in there. Jamie Foxx is like, I told you not to buy the flowers. My mom would say it's a waste of thing. Mom proceeds to tell Jamie Foxx it's a waste of money, but then when
She
Tom
found
Cruise is
out
like,
his
I'm the one
dad.
who bought the flowers, she's like, oh,
Exactly.
these
She's
are
like, "Oh, I
beautiful.
love it. Thank you. It's so
I'm
nice."
like, man, that is beautiful writing. And, it could be taken as a scene, to the blind
Like
eye. It could be a
yeah,
scene
a scene,
about
yeah.
flowers, right? But when you really dissect it, you're like, no, it's kind of showing the humanity and the contrast of not only Tom Cruise's character as an assassin, because he's cold, he's violent, but at the same time, he's warm enough to stop by flowers and be like, bro, you're seeing your mom, bro. Get her a flower. She's in the hospital.
Exactly.
And then
Exactly.
earlier in the story, we see him talk about how he never got a chance to really bond with his mom, and how he lost his mom at a young age. Like you said, they're not explaining that in the movie. He's not having like a monologue about like, oh, my mom was gone at this age. No, it was
Yeah,
just like
with a
he,
flashback, yeah.
right, briefly showed it, and then now you get the intent of why he made those actions. So I know exactly what you mean. I think that a lot of writers nowadays are kind of adhering to the fact that people are always on their phone. And I think they're assuming that people, or not maybe assuming, this is what's happening, is
Mhm.
that people are on their phones and watching these content, whether it's movies or shows, or they're not as locked in. They're cooking at the same time. They're reading. They're doing other things, where to the point where the actual source material in terms of the TV or the movie is secondary, and it's not a priority to their attention. So I think that writers have become lazy, like the viewers, and now are like, we need to dumb down the show. But I agree with you to the point where is when I'm watching a show and I feel like, man, this is too heavy handed, or I feel you're being lazy, or in I take it personal. I'm like, you just think I'm dumb, bro. Like
Mhm.
you're offending my intelligence. You have to say character A is getting in the car to go to character B for this reason, because instead of just showing it to me. I think it's an example of poor direction and filmmaking as well. Because if you're able to have a scene that gives off what you're trying to display and say without actually saying it, I think that you succeeded and actually creating a scene. So I definitely agree with you, and I think it's annoying. I just
Mhm.
think that with all the reality TV now, all the Love Is Blinds and stuff, that people don't like. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Pleber is the new show on Apple TV, which is crazy. The first few episodes were insane.
Mhm.
That's a show where it's like, yeah, you got to be locked in, bro. Like if you're not paying attention, all that jargon, all the reasoning, all the explanations, like you fall out of focus, and then 2 minutes later you're watching it, you're gonna be like, what is going on? So
Yeah.
I actually enjoy shows like that. We talked about Alien and Earth. I know you saw some of it as well. That's another show where they're dropping names and companies, introducing characters and different type of xenomorphs and different type of
Fam, you know
whatever,
how many times I
whatever.
rewinded the damn show? I rewound the show
And
like 30 times.
Feb,
I was like, wait, they said he's an android, and I just rewind to the beginning. I'm back to the beginning. Went back to it. So androids are what? I bet. Fast forward. And then they're like, bring up someone. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I forgot. And I rewind it again, and I'm like, bro, thank God I can rewind it. And
facts.
maybe that's what it is. Like maybe I just care enough to rewind and just figure it out, like from that
Yeah.
standpoint. But
I think you're right, bro. When I think about all those legal shows that used to come on back in the day, or movies, are law movies not a thing no more because people wouldn't be able to keep up with the rhetoric that's happening in the courtroom or with the storytelling because of how
yeah,
dense it seems? Like, is Andy Sorkin's movies, would they be successful nowadays because it's so dialogue heavy? And the way it is, like, I don't know. I'm just confused at what's going on right now. But I do agree with what you said. That hot take was spot on, man. If I had to say anything, I would say, yeah, y'all gotta cook better in those rooms, bro, and stop. I don't know if COVID was also a result of let's tailor things down because you want to dumb things down. Everyone's in the crib and blah blah. I don't know if that had an effect on the shows and stuff, but
hmm
I do know that there are shows out there that are doing the due diligence of keeping us invested without over explaining, and those are the ones that I kind of gravitate towards. All right, man, let's talk about Him. Him was another pretty big movie that we were anticipating. Before we even talk about the premise, man, can we talk about the hoopla, the discourse that went on prior to the movie coming out? So the fact that we know Justin Tipping was directing the movie, but did we? Because we look at all the posters, the promotional posters when it came for the movie, like Jordan Peele's name in red was pretty big. So it made it seem, obviously it said producing, but it made it seem like he had like a big hand or effect on like what would be happening in the movie. Do
yeah.
you think that was dropped ball by marketing? Do you think they shouldn't have did that? Do you think that they should have did that because like we have Jordan Peele as a producer, so obviously putting his name on the poster will get more people to actually watch the movie instead of just saying, "Oh, Monkey Paw Productions" or whatever Jordan Peele's team thing is. I do think like that was a good decision. Like, oh, like yeah, we got Jordan Peele as producing, so why not? If I have an album coming out and it's like produced by Drake, why would I not be like executive produced by Drake? Like even if he's not on it, but then now everyone's gonna expect him to have a verse on there, you know?
He's in Euphoria. They say he's the executive producer for Euphoria, and I was like, "Oh, will he have a hand in anything? That nigga don't have no
Mm-hmm.
hand in nothing."
Nah, he just want
So,
money.
so exactly, you just throw money in the bag, and they're able to do something. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think it works for movies that maybe may not be getting the amount of love that it should be getting. Maybe not big
Right.
time actors. With Monkey Man, I think that they did that as well, like produced by Jordan
Oh
Peele.
yeah, he did. Yeah.
So I think that's why they do it, just because Jordan Peele's name holds so much weight. So I don't know how much you should like be like, oh, that's on him, because I feel
Mm-hmm.
like knowing him being a director and hearing his story about how he wanted to direct Get Out, because that's his experience and nobody else knows that experience, I feel like he
Yeah.
wouldn't
Do
like
that to somebody else.
do that to somebody else where it's like, oh, like I'm producing, but like let me direct it a little bit, let me show you like what, like, you know what I mean, how it should be, like, kind of thing. I think that he would let them
Right.
do what they need to do. So um I don't want to put a lot on him on that one for sure.
I think it backfired because of like what the first initial reactions were from everybody. Like, oh, we thought because everyone assumed that had a hand directing it. But
hmm
like you said, it could have just been a marketing thing. We don't know how, like, you could have been on set. You could not have been on set. Like, I don't know. I haven't seen any interviews or anything like that. Everyone was like, wait, for a Jordan Peele movie, why did it? Then it's like, yo, that's not his, like, he didn't direct this, fam. This is Justin
yeah.
Tipping. It's a separate experience. Appreciate it for what it is from what he's doing with his skill set as a director. And I think
Yeah.
all that got lost within the hoopla of the negative reviews. I do think this movie was negative reviewed bomb, like in a way that like was unnecessary because
Yeah, I
there
thought it
are
was
some there
unnecessary.
are some bad movies out there. I don't think this was like a horrible movie. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think
Like
it
people
deserved like a
were
20 something percent or
yeah,
30 something
people
percent
people
people were
were
trying to give
wilding.
it.
People were wilding still. And
Yeah.
Marlon did make a good point about like all his movies have been rated bad on Rotten Tomatoes. You know, White Chicks is like 30%, you know what I'm saying? But that's a cult classic. And I dare anyone to
Hmm.
tell me otherwise. Like, I'll smack you. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So ratings cannot be, all the scary movies that they did, the Wayans brothers were all rated poorly. It's not always about ratings, but do you want to talk about the premise real quick?
The premise is pretty simple. Damn near about Patrick Mahomes. No, I'm guessing. Essentially, the premise of it is that there's this like goat football quarterback of all time, and there's this college player that's trying to be his protege, and then when he becomes his protege and like works out with him and sees his lifestyle, he sees kind of the sacrifices that the quarterback had to make and kind of how psycho and insane you got to be to kind of want to be the greatest. It's interesting because it puts an eye not only on football but a lot of different sports, because everybody
Yes,
got to be a little psycho and a little obsessed and a little something to do what you do at the
of
best
course.
of your abilities, right? I thought it was super interesting, but my initial thoughts on it, I thought that it was great until the very end. I thought the very end got a little weird because then yeah, I didn't know what the hell was going on, and
Yeah,
I didn't. Then I was like, okay, so you did all that for nothing,
for nothing. Yep.
and then on top of that, I was like, okay, so how are you gonna explain all this? And then on top of all that, I was like, so nigga, are you playing football still? Like, what's going on? You know
You
what I
going to
mean?
jail? Or you just
Like,
committed 7 murders?
I don't know. So that's why I was like, okay, bro, but
Are you going to be the starting QB week 1? Or
exactly, bro, you did all this work for what? You murked the man. Spoiler alert: if you haven't watched the movie, obviously we should have said that. But you murked Marlon for what? You know what I mean? Like I don't understand. Like I don't get it. Like so Marlon's not going to be the starting QB because he's not going to be available because he's dead. So the GM's dead, the president's dead, the owner's dead. Like so who's running the team? Like I don't get it. So
he
that's what
killed his agent. Is the
yeah.
agency still guarded? Or
Like the man said he handpicked him from you as a youth. Like, okay, so all right, I guess to get him to where he was at. To say his father gave up his life to
yeah,
be essentially for his son to be great. It was a metaphor for some of the things that parents do go through to sacrifice their own
facts.
well being and their own success for their kids to be great. And I think that at the end of the day, some people are just like, especially in his case, he's like, I would just rather have had my dad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
Then had this football thing, and football only became his everything because his dad passed away. But yeah, actually thought it was super interesting. I thought that the premise was actually really good. I thought that
Premise was elite.
it was elite. I thought that the story was actually pretty good. I thought it was like how they were training and how they were thinking and how they were moving. I was just like, yo, like you. I felt like that there was some truth to it. I felt like there were some players out there watching that, like, ha 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 ha. How do they know this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of thing,
Yeah.
like and that's why I liked it. I enjoyed it because I was like, okay, like it's a little dark for sure, a little demonic. You have to do a little prayer real quick. At the same time, I thought that it was interesting because that is something that happens in sports. Is like somebody has to become the next best player in the league or the next
For
GOAT
sure.
of the league. You know what I mean? And this is like, okay, like how is there a passing of the mantle? Is there like some
How
deeper
does it
thing?
work?
Like how does it
Yeah.
work, kind of thing? And obviously everybody's just like, oh well, the player just comes in and is great. As we know, because we've talked to a lot of basketball players, NBA players, and professional players. Like there's a lot of politics that go into this.
That goes into it. Yeah. Some man don't
There's
even want to pass the mantle, fam.
exactly, you know what I mean. There's a lot of politics that go into it. Like whether it's like, yeah, I'm better than this guy, but I can't take the shots because they pay him a little more money than I do.
Hmm.
Then okay, so then how does it work? How do you who does the NBA push so that they're the face
Yeah.
of the NBA, you know what I mean? Or who does the NFL push so they're the face of the NFL? Or things like that. It's interesting, but I think there's a little bit of truth to it. Obviously the demonic shit and all that stuff, whatever. But I do think there's like
Yeah.
behind the scenes things that go into that.
And I think the first act was probably the best act for me. Like how they set it up, I think was really good. Stylistically, I do think the film was well made. Like there was a lot of shots and frames and compositions and colors, especially in the second act. That I
Yeah.
was like, ooh, the imagery was pretty dope. Now, I will say, I think I spoke about it before with Heavy Handed. I do think that there was like a lot of metaphors that were just like even the go images like would flash randomly. I'm like, okay, cool, unsettling, but like, are we going to explain anything? And I don't
Mhm.
want to sound like a hypocrite because we just spoke about how you don't want to over explain things,
Yeah.
but when it came to this film, I felt like there wasn't enough explanation for a lot of things, to the point where I left thinking like some of the stuff like you talked about was illogical to me. Well, first of all, let me talk about the themes. I thought, like you said, the themes were amazing. The premise was amazing. In a perfect world, I would want someone to take this premise and expand on it, expound on it. Because like you said, I think there's so much more that we could get out of a situation or scenario like this. And like you said, it doesn't have to be applicable just to football. It could be to any sport. So I
Yeah.
think he unlocked a blueprint that I hope someone like takes on and takes further.
Yeah.
But the film does tackle a lot of themes in terms of like the exploration of athletes and the parental pressure, like you said, the toxic masculinity. Like that is something that's big in our culture when it comes to sports.
Yeah.
The cost of fame. And by the end of it, with the chaotic final moments, it just was like a superficial message, and it just didn't result in landing the plane to me. I like how it addressed the cult following, because yeah, I do think that is a little bit, I mean, it's always happened throughout our lineage of sports, but right now, especially, people say glazing or they say whatever. Like, there's people who love a player or a sport or whatever so much that they don't even like want to listen to the objective facts. They just want to be subjective about it.
Oh, me? Yeah, about Brown, please.
LeBron, yeah. I wasn't talking about you, but yeah. But when Cam pulled up to the compound and then you saw the crazy fans out there, like I wish they like dove into what I thought happened was that they touched on so many different themes, but they didn't fully express them or explain them. Even when they showed up in the sauna with him and Marlon,
Oh yeah, that part was
and
so
Marlon
confusing. I was like,
and
what?
Marlon did what he did, I was just like still confused as to like what was the point of that scene. Like you know what I'm saying? It was cool, but like, what was the point in a sense? And I would have wanted there to be a better payoff for the fandom culture, because, like I said, that is something that's happening right now, where people, they are fans of people to the point where it's like, bro, you don't even follow Christ or God like this, man. Like you you're idolizing man, bro, or a woman or someone that ties their shoes the same way as you. Yes, they have gifts and they've been touched and they do things that are exceptional, but just because Justin Bieber could sing a note better than me doesn't mean that he's essentially a better man or human being than I am.
Yeah,
And
we're
I
all
feel
humans.
like, yeah, we're all humans in the day. So I feel like they could have addressed that in a better way. And then like certain things like, why was it that Cam had to go to the Saviors? You know what I'm saying? Like, why was that his only path to the NFL? They didn't really explain that. They didn't explain like the
Well, it's
relation of the
kind of I've
compounds.
heard that story before, where it's
Yeah,
like some players would like not go to, they want to play for a certain team no matter
certain
what,
team.
so they
Yeah,
won't get drafted by that team and they won't sign. So
right.
it was just like some teams just want a certain player. Like
Certain player. Yeah.
and football is a little different than basketball. Like they can like
Mhm.
say like, Breeze, I'm not signing with you guys, so don't draft me, kind of thing.
Right.
Well, they used to, at least, because I think that
So they
happened
could
with
choose where
I
they
think that
go.
happened with like Peyton Manning, because then he went
Yeah.
back because he's like, I'm not signing with you guys unless da 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 da, and then they like sent him back, or like he went back to college just so he
Right.
could do it, whatever, something like that, something like that.
Makes sense. 'Cause I think Austin Reeves did the same thing. I think Austin Reeves had a chance to be drafted second round. He told them no, and then ended up signing with the Lakers because he knew he wanted to go with the Lakers, or whatever the case may be. But I heard that story for sure too. Because everyone's like, "How do you go undrafted?" And then I think he explained the story on DJ Reddick's podcast a couple years ago, where he's like, "I didn't go undrafted. I actually told the team that wanted to draft me, like, I'm not interested." And because I was already talking to teams in the past, whatever. But so I get that. But I was just saying, like, why was that his only route? Like, from a movie standpoint, Cam goes to the compound, and like, at what point was he going to be like, this is crazy or weird? And I get what you're saying, because Marlon's character was his idol. So again, if I'm going to Bron's
Everybody's
crib,
idol. The man's an 8-time champion.
no,
Like,
facts,
what?
yeah,
I was
everybody's
like,
idol. But if I
okay,
go to Bron's crib and Bron was doing certain things, of course, like the first week I'm going to be like, okay, like this is what's
yeah.
this is what's going on. But I do feel like after like a 1-2 time, I'm gonna, like, after I see blood transfusions, I might be like, yo, I can get my phone back real quick. Call it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it seemed like he
Nah, not me.
was blinded by it. You're in there. You're like, whatever it
Nah, I'm
takes.
in there. Until the rituals, until like the certain demonic rituals, I'll be like,
Yeah.
blood transfusion, please give me Brown's blood. No, I need it.
He undergoes the injections for his brain trauma for the purpose of, I guess, affecting his vague whatever. They didn't explain certain things. And again, I get it. Okay, so the last part to me, I get it. The Last Supper style imagery, you know what I'm saying? All the surreal imagery, the strobe lightings, all that stuff. First of all, Julia Fox, I dislike her strongly in every movie and in every sense of life. Sorry to say that. She kind of
Uncut
ruined
Gems,
the
she was
movie.
a goat, and then after that, she just
Yeah,
went downhill.
she was good. She was good in that. And the tonal mix to me was crazy, because how did the movie go from what it was to all of a sudden it became a slasher film? It just seemed like wild. You know what I would have enjoyed, bro? Two biggest notes that I had, Merv, was one, I would have personally loved to see more football. That's just my opinion. Like, I would have wanted to see more gameplay. Like, if somehow we could have put the third act in the second act, skip the second act, because like the training montage and stuff was cool, but like it wasn't enough to like drag on like that with the sauna and then all the other stuff in between.
When that guy stood in front of the football machine,
Yeah,
and
that
then they
was
did the X-ray thing, and the man gave him concussed. Oh yeah, I was
yeah, that was
amped.
mad.
No,
That was
I
mad.
mean,
That was
sorry,
mad.
not amped. That's bad words. But I
Yeah.
was just like, oh, I'm locked in.
Now
I'm
that was
locked
tough
in.
filmmaking. Still, that was tough. So I would have loved to see, like you said, the demonic forces, the supernatural elements, because the movie all of a sudden turned supernatural. It would have been cool if he had like a preseason, or he got drafted, or him and like you said, Marlon were on the same team, or that dynamic continued, or we got to see the effects of him doing what he's doing and sacrificing all his moral values and everything to the
Mm-hmm.
point where he is becoming the GOAT. And now we get to see, how cool it would have been if he was on the field and we saw his perspective of him like start tripping. You know what I'm saying? Not tripping, but starting to see different elements, demonic stuff on the field, or if he's getting help from the supernatural, like hit this person on some like Six Man, the basketball movie type of thing.
I mean
Um,
that would have kind of got too goofy. I guess it wouldn't have been as like
this
it
guy
would
said
have
too
got
goofy. It already got goofy, fam.
goofy. It would have been like goofy horror. Like it wouldn't have been like
Yeah,
because if a nigga says, "Yo, he's open," I'm like, "What?"
maybe not that, but you know what I mean. I just wanted more football, like
No,
because
no, I know
I
what you
think
mean. I
because
know what you mean. I know what you
I think
mean.
because the
Yeah.
training stuff was so cool, like you said, the guy getting hit in the face. I wanted to see the payoff, like how did his skills translate, or what he learned at that compound translate to him becoming a GOAT or being a GOAT, or like him to just on the field. And I think that was a missed opportunity. Like if we're gonna do a basketball movie, I don't want to see a game, at least a game, bro. Like I'm not saying like something like for me, it would have been cool if at the end he accepted what he accepted, and instead of killing all the Mandem, he ended up being in the Super Bowl, bro, and he won the Super Bowl off of like the supernatural stuff, and it would have shown like, oh, this is what happens. But I guess that sends a bad message. But the message that like it sends in general to me doesn't make sense because he did all that for what? It's like you already knew you were doing all this foolishness, and then you get to the end and you finally say I'm not with it, and then try and kill everybody, and then from there, like what happens? Like I just don't get that
Yeah,
part.
I don't. I guess it could be the trigger was his pops. Like I guess the trigger could have been his pops. Like when
Hmm.
they said the thing about his dad, like that could
Yeah,
have been the trigger for him. Or I mean, there was bare demonic stuff, but I guess that demonic stuff at the end. But like it's
yeah.
kind of like Chris Pratt, Star Lord in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, when his
Hmm.
dad's like, "Yo, when I had to kill your mom," and then he just crashes out. Like
Yeah.
certain things where it's like, oh, like you say something about my dad, and I'm crashing out. Forget all that other shit. I'm out.
Hmm.
Type shit. But yeah,
Listen,
I do agree though. I do agree. I think that they should have came up with something completely different. I don't think that they
a better resolution. Like I said, it would have been cynical if he did have a Super Bowl or won a game, but it would have been like, oh, that would have made me leave there more chilling. Like you said, like, oh, this is what these goats really go through, and this is why they achieve what they achieved. Whereas now I'm still like, what do these like? So the goats go through that and they do like they die like Marlon, or they
yeah,
like I'm
like I
just
mean they have to because that's why he said that's why even after that because remember when he said like how do you even come back from that injury because remember he was a kid when he
mm,
got injured and he's just like
yeah,
I nearly had to kill myself. Then I was
right,
like, oh, like you probably have to fight somebody else, another protege or something like that, and get the
hmm,
power, and then become the goat again, and like still be able to win 8 championships after that or something like that. Like that's why I
yeah.
assumed that happened, or whatever. But like you said, it's like you don't want to overly explain, like we talked about, but then it's like, when things get a little too confusing, you want a little explanation stuff.
Yeah, especially when it comes to like bizarre sequences or repetitive stuff that they kept showing. I kind of felt like it was like style over substance in a sense. Like again, I'm
Yeah,
not gonna like it wasn't like I still think there was enough pause meat on the bone where it's like okay, I
yeah,
could get what you guys are trying to grasp at. I
yeah,
could get what you're trying to show me, and like it made me think. It was divisive. Like it was definitely a movie. If you and I saw it together in Vancouver, or wherever, Toronto, like we would have walked out like having a debate, talking about. So I get that, and I enjoy that for sure. But
yeah,
just as an athlete and a guy who I think had high hopes going into it, I just wanted it to end better or a better resolution. As a sports guy, I love to see action. So it's like I would have loved to see him on the field or ending on the field or somehow have some type of gameplay or something like that. But I still think it was a solid performance from Marlon Wayans. What do you think about his performance?
I think he did a great job. I think he did a great job.
Incredible. Incredible. He showed a lot of range. We're used to seeing him obviously be goofy, funny, and this one was kind of more manic, but at the same time, he was very, very, very menacing. Very menacing. Thought it was good. Obviously, underperformed at the box office. So did Bugonia though, as well. So we'll guess we'll just keep an eye on those two films to see how they do in the long run when it comes to the awards or anything like that. But yeah, man, I thought it was a solid film, but it could have been. I feel like it should have been a masterpiece. It should have been one of the biggest films of the year with the,
It
especially
should have.
when it got announced. I remember, because I was still playing for this team last year. So I remember when it got announced and we were like, bro, no way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, then I remember the trailer coming out a couple months ago and I'm just like, man, like this looks crazy. Like this looks tough.
I know.
So I just kind of felt underwhelmed. But I do think that the hate that it received was unnecessary. It didn't.
Yeah,
It's
the
not the
hate was
worst movie.
unnecessary for damn
It's not
sure.
the
But
worst movie for
you know, I
sure.
mean, people love to hate. So
All right, let's go to. I want everyone to take notice for a second about something. Have you ever noticed, Merv, that right now, and I'm only speaking about this because of Frankenstein and certain other movies, but right now we're in this day and age where streaming services will say a movie's coming out and it'll get a theatrical release, but then it'll be right on streaming within a week or two.
yeah,
I Man, I'm not messing with that. I don't know what your opinions are about that, but for me, I think that certain films deserve a longer theatrical run. Again, speaking about Frankenstein, I watched it at the crib, thought it was really, really good. Tried to see it on the biggest screen I had in the crib, and I really liked it. But I would have felt like I would have even loved it even more if I was watching it, 70 millimeter or something like that, or watching it in
yeah,
IMAX. But it's like, damn, bro, it's already taken out of theaters. Like
I know.
it's already at the crib. So, what are your thoughts on these films? Again, I understand they're trying to play, both sides, and it's like we have to give into the streaming culture. It is what it is. It just is what it is. We have to. So we're gonna strike a deal, bomb in theaters. But like, why not have it in theaters for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, and then go to streaming? Like, why is it 1-2 weeks and then automatically to streaming? Like, I don't understand that, and it takes away the nuance and the excitement of like, yo, I have to go to the theater to watch this movie because now it's like, oh yeah, Frankenstein came out October 7th, but it'll be out October 13th at the crib. So
I hate that too. I think that's annoying, but it's all money grabs. Netflix wants everybody to go to Netflix to watch the movie. So it's like I remember watching The Harder They Fall
yeah,
in Australia, and I watched it at theater because I went to go see it. There was barely anybody in there, of course. And then I went home, and like 2 days later, I saw it on streaming. I said, "What?" And it's a Netflix film. I said, "What?" And I was like, "What?" It was literally in theaters. And it just released in theaters 2 days ago.
yeah,
And I was just like, "Oh!" And that's when I figured out that that's what they do, like because they want more people on Netflix. Obviously, the more views things get on Netflix, more subscribers, more money they get, and stuff like that. They're not making money from movie theaters.
facts.
So I think that's what it is with streaming systems. And it's a lot of Netflix. Netflix does it the most. Apple TV didn't
Hmm.
really do it. I mean, they
Hmm.
did F1, but F1 was in theaters for a minute, obviously. A promotion of Apple, so that's why they loved it the most.
Facts.
But yeah, I think that Netflix does that a lot just because they don't want really people to be at the theater because they know they don't make money at the theater. They make money through subscriptions, and that's why I hate it. But you know, what I mean, the streaming services is what's the booming network right now. So can't even hate on it. Well, I can
Is
hate
what it
on it,
is.
but it's not like it's going to change. This is what I'm gonna
Can't
say.
beat them, join them. That's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like they
Nah,
doing.
hell no,
The,
I
the
ain't joining
movie.
them niggas.
No, I'm talking about the movie business.
Whoa, wait a second, niggas coming to money now. I will be joining
I'm crying.
because it's not that much off my my moral compass. It is annoying, but it ain't that much on my moral compass now. But yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that one.
All right, but before we round out the episode, we're gonna finish off with some trivia. But first, are there any films that you're excited for? It's been the first couple weeks of the first week of November has passed. We're on second week of November. What do you think are some of the good films or some of the films that you're intrigued in watching that are coming out this month? Because after a tumultuous October, November seeks to kind of redeem the claim as being a movie month, or at least bringing people back to the theater.
Well, you know I'm a huge Now You See Me fan, so Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
Woo, number
I'm
3
excited for that one.
trilogy. Are you
And
are you are you excited, or are you like, this is a money grab? Where are you with this one?
I'm not like I won't say like, oh, I gotta go see it. I'll say that. I'm
Mhm.
just like, oh, I like the series, I like the movie film series or franchise, so I'm like, oh, I'll just go watch it because I've already watched the
Facts.
other two and I like it.
Yeah,
So it's
makes
not
sense.
like obviously it is a money grab. What movie isn't a money grab? Everything is a money grab. See, this it should have ended with the first one. The second one was
Really,
unnecessary. The
really, yeah.
third one, I don't know what's going on now. Like, yeah, it's pointless. But who cares? They definitely gonna put my asses in seats. I'll tell you that much.
No, for
Um,
sure. Okay.
Running Man, of course, Glenn
Oh
Powell
my
in his
goodness, I
bag.
can't wait for that.
And then
Cannot
the
wait for that one.
interesting one is Eternity with Elizabeth Olsen, Miles Teller, and Calum Turner. I think those are going to be pretty interesting as well. A very Jonas Christmas movie. I'm very excited for that. You know, I'm a
Boy, ready
big
for
fan of
that?
Jonas Brothers fan. So
Yeah.
excited for that. Hopefully, it comes out in theaters here. I'll be very disappointed if it doesn't. I didn't watch The Wicked, so Wicked for Good is not really going to do it for me.
Shout out to Alyssa. I know she's ready for Wicked for Good, and my sisters, they're definitely excited
Um,
about that one.
oh, Zootopia. Zootopia
Zootopia
2.
2. Let's talk about it.
That is
Fire.
gonna be a fire film. They're gonna make
I
$1
will. I
trillion.
will be there.
They're gonna make $1 trillion with that film, right? Easily.
I will be there. I love going to those movies and I'm by myself. You know me, Cineplex. Remember,
Yeah.
go on the ones and parents look at me like, nah, gang. What
What
do
are you
you
doing
have
here?
going on?
Please.
What do
I
you
watched the
have
movie
going
before
on?
you guys were even born. Please. I don't want to hear. I don't care. Please.
Man, look at me like, what's going on in your life while you're here by yourself watching Zootopia or watching
I'm
this
having a
cartoon
great
movie?
time. Please.
I'm having a
Say
great
no
time.
more.
Please, I anticipated this.
And then the last one I would say outside of Zootopia is Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery. Obviously, I'm a Knives Out
Facts,
fan. I love Knives
facts.
Out, so that one's gonna be pretty interesting. So,
I can't wait to see Daniel Craig back on screen.
yep, he's
Um,
looking very. He's looking older, at least in the screenshots they have. But he's looking older for
mhm.
sure.
Horror movie called Keeper that I want to check out from Osgood. And then I think Badlands is worth mentioning. I've seen it already, but Jesus, that movie
Yeah, I was gonna
was
say Badlands
really,
didn't really
really good.
count. It just came out, but I guess you're right. It still
Yeah.
counts into that. So
And then Playdate, man, I'm not gonna lie, it looks a little interesting. I know it's a Prime release, but with Kevin James and Alan Richardson,
yeah,
I can't wait for that because that looks a little funny. Isla Fisher, I'm a big fan of Isla Fisher, man. Wedding Crashers,
she's
et cetera, et
hilarious.
cetera. So, I'm excited for that one for sure. All right, the timeout trivia, SceneDMs trivia, real quick.
All right, Tyra Banks.
Okay. Tyra
No
Banks.
guess. Okay, bet. No guess.
Nah.
Danny McBride.
Nah, not yet.
Nothing.
Nah, not nothing. Not drawing anything yet.
Bill Hader.
Oh, Bill. Danny McBride. But why the Tyra Banks is throwing me off, bro?
That's why I said it.
That's a snake. Nah.
John Voight.
In what world is John
Hey, man. Hey, figure it out.
Is it early 2000s?
I'm not answering those questions, brother. You gotta figure it out.
Bro, the only thing I'm thinking about is that movie. It's not Life Size, obviously.
No, incorrect.
That's like the only Tyra Banks movie I could think of. I don't recall Tyra Banks movie and nothing else. It's not America. It's not. What is
No.
what is she at?
You want me to give you a next name?
Yeah, next name.
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey's in this movie. That's not a Halloween movie, is it? Halloween?
No, it's not. It's not.
Higher Learning?
No.
Bro, I actually don't know. Tyra Banks?
Jason Bateman.
What type of movie is that?
Tom Cruise.
Bro, is this a documentary?
No, not at all.
Tropic Thunder?
Yes.
Yes, I got it. Wait, where was she? I know that movie by heart. I don't recall her in that movie at all.
Tyra Banks, played by Tyra Banks. That's what it says here.
She must have been in the Brandon T. Jackson music video or something. I don't
And
recall.
John Voight and it says John Voight as John Voight, Jason Bateman as Jason Bateman. So
yeah, they must have been in the. You know how they had those trailers?
Yeah, the fake movies.
Yeah, must have been in those because ain't no way, bro. Like I know that movie by heart. I did not recall no Tyra Banks.
I knew when I said Tom Cruise was gonna give it away. So
and there's only two black guys in that movie: Robert Downey Jr. and Brandon T. Jackson.
Okay, it's master Robert Downey Jr.
Bro, my mom sent me a video last night of him staying in character in the hotel. I was crying, fam. I said nah. All right, bet. That was a good one. That was tough. Wood Harris.
Woody Harrelson?
No, Wood Harris.
The black guy.
The Wire.
Oh shoot! Remember the Titans?
Mm-mm.
Damn.
That's young. That's young Wood Harris, though. I like that.
Okay,
good guess.
Okay, thank you for that.
Good. Oh, it's fine. Alicia Rashad.
It was Creed.
Damn.
That was so easy. What?
All right. Go ahead, bro.
Man, actually, I don't know movies. Please, come on now.
Jeez.
That was easy as hell. Actually, I was gonna guess it was gonna be between Creed and I was gonna say The Wire, but I was like, oh shoot, it's not a TV show. Then I was gonna guess between Remember the Titans and Creed. So as soon as you said Felicia, I knew it was Creed.
Damn, Felicia Rashad.
All right, Emma Stone.
I don't know. Why would Anthony Mackie and Emma Stone be in a movie?
Michael Pena.
I love Michael Pena. One more.
Robert Patrick. You know who that is?
Yeah. Oh, yo, bro. You know how I know this movie? Because prep school. Is Emma's work boyfriend in this?
I don't know.
Work husband? Ryan Gosling?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I can't ask you for it. I'm gonna say Gangster Squad.
Fuck. Yeah, I mean, sorry. Yeah, you got it. Still, it was pretty good.
Robert
Was that,
Patrick.
Robert Patrick gave it away? Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
God damn.
He's only in like 3 things for me. Wallace Langham.
I don't remember who that is.
Brenda Song.
Oh, Social Network.
God, yo, that was too. Okay, you know what? Isn't it? It's because of the scene where she. Yeah. Okay.
You're damn right. It's because of that scene.
I know what you're talking about. In the auditorium.
Yeah,
That's why
right.
Brenda's in that movie. Jeez, I should have said her close to the end. All right. Yeah, Social Network.
All right, bet you ready?
Yeah. Jeez.
All right, Nicki Minaj.
Oh, it has to be one or two. It has to be the movie with Cameron Diaz. What's that one called? The Other Woman?
Incorrect.
Oh wow. Wow. Barbershop 2?
No, Keke Palmer.
It's not one of them days. Nicki Minaj was in that. All right, what's next?
Simon Pegg.
Why is Simon Pegg in a movie with Nicki Minaj, bro? Simon Pegg, Hot Fuzz?
Nah.
No, I'm saying from Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
Give me something else because that Kiki what?
Patrick Stewart.
Okay, one more.
Rebel Wilson.
Oh jeez. Is this an animated movie?
Are we allowed to answer those questions?
I don't know. Rebel Wilson, first of all. Bridesmaid, Nicki Minaj was not in Bridesmaid. Well, right before his Wi-Fi cut out, ladies and gentlemen, I was about to guess Ice Age. Yes, I was about to get it right. Nah, I'm playing. But his Wi-Fi did cut out. Shout out to Merv. We had a great episode today. So sorry we couldn't finish the trivia. Happens when we're playing basketball on opposite sides of the world. But appreciate y'all tuning in with us. Of course, we have more content coming out. So continue to follow SceneDMs _ on Instagram, but also subscribe to SceneDMs on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube, of course. And let's keep this thing going, man. SceneDMs family, we appreciate y'all. We'll be back with some more content, some more episodes, same time, same place next week.